Right, we're going to rewind a little bit back in time here, Daps, because my question, I have to ask this question, like the fact you've just joined Evil Geniuses. I want to go back in time to when it wasn't called Evil Geniuses, because if people don't remember, technically you were removed and it was still NRG. You actually played like the last tournament, if people don't remember, was the Pro League Season 9. It was the one where, bizarrely, Stanislaw was like technically signed, but like he didn't start, and it's like, there's got to be your last tournament. And if people don't remember, dude, obviously it's the same essential core that you're coming back into now as a coach, but this is the question I have, right? When you got removed from that team, I thought this was actually the most questionable cut of your entire career, mate, because the difference with some of the other ones is, if people remember the similar scenario in Optic was like a way more sort of like up and down as a team, and they even just brought Tarik in. That wasn't like a set lineup that had been around for a long time. This team, for real, you legit built, played with them as the IGL the whole time, got them to better and better and better and better level. Obviously, Tarik came in, then you were like top 4 consistently, and people forget you had a lot of top 4s that year. Like, you were consistently in contention. People will even forget it. This tournament I'm referring to, Season 9 Pro League, you actually beat the fucking Astralis team in a best of 3. Like, I know it's funny how that works, isn't it, Daps? On the one hand, they all want to tell you Team Liquid was never really number 1, Astralis was secretly the best one, and it's like, oh well, my boy Hitch beat Astralis. Yeah, but that was old wash. It's like, you can't simultaneously be both guys. It's got to be one or the other. So I just bring that up because everyone else tries to tell me, they were just chilling, they secretly were the best. So what I've got to ask is this. From your perspective, wasn't that pretty fucked as a cut? Like, if you stay in that team there, I'm not going to claim that you would like win the major or whatever, but like, you were in a very good position. And for a North American team, aside from Team Liquid, no one was even comparable. Did you not think that was a bit of a fucked up removal or cut or replacement in that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some elements to it. I mean, definitely Tarik and I don't really see eye to eye on that many things in game. And I kind of knew, even like a month into picking up Tarik, that he was like trying to kind of remove me and like remove Chet like pretty early on. And obviously when I find that out, like, I'm going to lose confidence as a player. And I think statistically it was like my worst period like ever in like my whole time playing like tier 1 events. Like, I can't defend myself. Like, statistically I was absolutely terrible in that time period. But I had also lost all my confidence as a player individually. I don't think my calling was bad. I think my calling was always like at that level, and I was like able to call versus like the best teams still. But I do agree, like, it's kind of fucked to have to deal with like someone potentially like actively trying to get you replaced by multiple different people over the course of you having pretty good results. I think it just sort of got to the point, I think Tarik's sort of like argument for getting me removed was sort of like, we keep getting top 4, like, how do we, it was sort of like, if we make this change, like, we can actually win. And Tarik obviously had won with Stan before, and they have a relationship there, so that's probably why it happened that way again. That's my assumption, just from like what I've heard. But yeah, I do agree. Like, on Optic, I definitely, 3 of us honestly deserve to get cut from that team. Like, I said it in an interview a long time ago, but it was like Naf was supposed to get removed from Optic initially, and then Stan was the next one who was supposed to get removed, and then I was the one who actually got removed in the end. So I think all 3 of us actually deserve to get removed at some point in that team, on and off. It was only Russian Mixwell who kind of didn't ever really deserve to get cut, or were even in discussion for being cut. So the Optic one I wasn't really upset about anyways, because it honestly like put me on like into NRG and like brought me on that path anyways. So I didn't really care about that one that much. I do agree though, the NRG one was like, I was playing bad individually, but I felt I was calling well still, and I didn't really get a chance to be like, there wasn't really a discussion of like, hey Daps, you're like playing pretty bad right now, like, this sort of like your final like warning, this is where you got to start playing better, blah blah blah. Like, there wasn't anything like that, and that was sort of what hurt a bit. So I do agree. I feel like that was like the one cut. Like, obviously when I got cut from Liquid, I was absolutely terrible when I was on Liquid. So yeah, the first 2 cuts I didn't really care, but
Because here's the thing, even though, like, look, I mean, some fans are going to claim, well, it was justified because they did win after you, blah, 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 all the rest of it.
Sure.
You know, like, even I would say on that one, like, be careful how hard you lean into that as a fan, because that also implies that all the rest of the period stands all fault afterwards. So I don't know why people, again, do that. Like, if anything, they had the very brief, really good, successful period, then they've also had a pretty terrible period after that. My question is this, though. Maybe you've sort of, like, implied some of the reason why you had lowered confidence, you felt like people didn't trust you, or didn't think you were any good anymore. But the part I can't get is this, right? I understand the principle that, like, Tarik himself might want to make this move. If you notice, Tarik's made a lot of very unusual transfer moves in his own career. And I will say, listen, I even like the guy, but I'll just say this straight up. He does have a habit of doing that move where he makes all the roster moves that fuck a team up. And then he just goes, you know what, I don't feel like being in this team anymore. Then just leaves and goes to another team, which is like, I've always never really appreciated that approach, because you do sort of fuck other people's careers up when you do it. But he's done it. He's just a person who has strong opinions about who he wants to play with, and obviously wants to win on some level, whether we can agree with the methods he takes or not. But the part I have a problem with is this, Daps. It's one thing if they remove you. It's one thing even if you acknowledge, look, I had some flaws to my game. But, like, the way you let them do you on that one was dirty, mate. Because you basically came out with your, like, twit logger and almost, like, agreed, like, oh, yeah, I reckon actually Stan will be better for the team than me. Like, this is a great move. Like, what? Like, dude, you got to have some self-interest, surely. Like, surely on some level.
Did I say that?
You said something. Dude, you were, like, really generous. Like, you were almost making it sound like, oh, I get why they're doing it or something. Like, I would fight for my spot.
I mean, well, to be fair though, like, I didn't want to be there either, and because I'll say this, like, it got to the point where it was clearly going to be either I get cut or Tarik gets cut, and there was no way I was getting rid of Tarik at that point. Like, he was already like dug into the team, and like I had already been playing with like Ethan and Breezy and like Cirque for 3 years pretty much with Breezy, and then like 2.5 years with Ethan and Cirque. So it was more so like there was no chance I would have ever won that battle at that point, because it's like I'm the guy who's been there for a long time, so it's like I'm clearly kind of next on the block. Like, there's no chance Tarik would ever get cut in that scenario.
Sure.
Even if I put my life on the line. So, and it's like a lot of people think I hate Stanislaw or something like that. It's like I don't mind him. Like, I've known him for so long, and like I picked him up a long time ago. Like, I've never had an issue with him. So it's like I'm not gonna have any like bad blood towards him. It was mainly just like I felt like people didn't defend me as much as they could have, and I know some people did try to defend me, but at the end of the day, it's like they all ended up agreeing, and it's like I can't do anything at that point. So it's like, sure, I didn't agree with the move. I felt like I deserved like a second chance type period where I could like try and improve my individual game more and stop focusing on the team as much. But I wasn't given that opportunity, and that's the only thing I really was salty about at that point. But I'm gonna try and be professional. It's like I'm gonna still go to that event with them even though I was cut. I'm not gonna make fucking Chet play the event even though it'd be hilarious because he'd get destroyed. But it's like there's still money to be won. I still want to like play at a tier 1 level, and I enjoy like lands were the only thing that made me even want to play CS. So it's like I'm still gonna go to the event even though I'm cut.
Was it actually a big deal to you to beat the Astralis team?
Yeah. It was like we went to that event, 0 practice, didn't go into it with anything because I got cut a week or 2 before that. So we didn't scrim at all together. They were practicing with Stanislaw for 2 weeks pretty much before that.
All right.
And so like we didn't practice at all. And we went into the event, got top 4, and we could have beat G2 in the semifinal.
Yes.
And I think most of the semifinals we made, they were like close semifinals. Like we weren't getting shit on every time we went to the semifinal. Like we were pretty much almost making it to the final, but we just like would lose some close rounds and it wouldn't go our way. So
want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.